What about outside of music?
I'm not sure whether it's going to really make much of an appearance in the retrospective, but there's obviously a huge amount of personal documentation and travel photography. Some of that pops up in videos that I've contributed to. There was a period there where, whilst I've always kind of had a roster of musicians that I collaborate with, and once again, following the money, you've got to go where the work is. And I did a bunch of event documentation for the Queensland Art Gallery and GOMA. So I've got thousands of images in their digital archive just documenting their stuff. I did a bunch of work for Brisbane Marketing, putting on guerrilla gigs and documenting that stuff. I think that the Quag stuff was really interesting because a German artist called Katharina Gross, whose Picture Park installation I documented, and that was so much fun. And the images that we got collaborating on that, she was up a scissor lift in the ceiling, and I had this massive telephoto lens, and the shots that we got were awesome, and they ended up in the exhibition catalogue. That kind of stuff, the opportunity to apply what I've learned documenting gigs in really challenging conditions with the low light and the flickering and all of that sort of stuff, and having to find the angle that tells the story. I found it really interesting transferring that set of skills to the artist kind of environment. And then again, I transitioned that skill further into documenting community events for Brisbane City Council. So I went to literally every single one of the community and cultural festivals that received council funding over that time period. That was 3 years of weird weekends, I tell you. But, I learned so much about our multicultural city, little pockets of the city that I would have never set foot in, and just capturing stories of those communities and the performances. Some of that will probably make an appearance as well. One of the photos that I'll probably share is one of the Korean festivals that happened in Brisbane City Hall. Some of the dancers, I really love photographing dancers and gymnasts and acrobats because you can anticipate their choreography. You can know they're going to land that over there, and you need to get to the spot where you can capture the hello, this is my move moment. And I just really love the rhythm of that, and the fact that they put so much thought into how it's going to look, that you know that it's going to look good. So it's going to be worth the effort of getting into their headspace and anticipating where to get the shot.
Yeah, and I guess it's different to the kind of the unpredictability of what you might get at a music festival where you can, you're in the photographer's pit for 3 songs, that's it?
Yeah.
Most of the time?
Yeah.
So tell us how that works.
Sometimes it really doesn't. Like that Oasis gig at Livid, oh my God, that was awful. They thrust these release forms in our faces as we were heading in, and there were TV cameras everywhere, and it just, I got some shots, but yeah, 3 songs is not, it's, some of the best photos that I got of Pete Murray live were at a show where I was hired to be there for the entire set, not for the first 3 songs. Hired by his management to do that. And the shot that they ended up using on the DVD cover was one at the very end. And if you've got the first 3 songs, you're not going to capture those moments. But I think I will say, though, that it's not entirely unpredictable what's going to happen when you're photographing someone on stage, because especially, and this is the gold is when you know the performer and they know why you're there and they work with you. There are some artists who are brilliant at that. I would shout out Clint from Butterfly Effect. He's really good at that. Gentle Ben, definitely. Dane O'Hara from Charles Foster Kane. Your frontmen are often really good at spotting the photo opportunity and knowing it's in their interest to really bring it, to give you that moment. I think there's a lot to be said for that. It is possible to make it work in the first 3 songs, but it's so much nicer to have your time.
Is it because they think that that's the best they're going to look in those first 3 songs, and after that the makeup runs and they get all sweaty?
It's partly about the sweatiness. I think it's also a safety management kind of thing, because having had my little whine about Oasis just then, I then photographed Powderfinger as well at the same festival. And after the first 3 songs, there's a lot more objects coming from the crowd into the photo pit.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah, cans of beer and stuff like that. And so you don't want to be there for that.
Okay.
So some events will allow you to take shots from out in the crowd as well, and depending on what your relationship is with whatever. And so some of the photos that I've got are crowd shots. And I think that they really convey the vibe as well, because it's more about the the audience experience, which more people relate to anyway. So yeah, look, I've done my best to document a lot of stuff, but it's in no way comprehensive. Like there are so many things that I just was not in any position to document, whether because I wasn't connected, didn't have the camera gear, didn't have the ticket, didn't have the bus fare, whatever. But I've done, I've done what I can, and I'm happy to, I enjoy telling stories and providing context and just adding that extra layer of meaning around it. Like I think that, as much as I think that photography is an important part of our cultural storytelling, I think that the context that I can offer can elevate ordinary images into something that's a bit more important.
Is that why you've taken on the retrospective?
There's a lot of reasons why I've taken it on. I just wanted the work to go where it belongs. People need their access to their life documentation and their stories. And I think we all, we could all benefit from a bit of positivity and expressions of gratitude and appreciation at the moment, particularly at the moment with the state of the world. So, there's a lot of things I can't fix, but I can help with the vibe.